Well, thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you so much for the organizers of this very interesting conference. It has been very, very interesting to hear all the different talks, and certainly we have learned quite a bit from the different aspects and economic and academic aspects of the agenda. We have spoken about, or I have heard about, a number of key words here: sustainability, natural capital, social capital, collective action, geographical indications. I mean, everything is on the agenda. My presentation tries to sort of touch on those points and some along the line, and maybe we can share with you some of our experiences of how to try to protect that natural capital, how to increase and maintain the social capital, which is very important, particularly when you're talking about third world country economies and social challenges. And most importantly, I think that I will touch base on collective action, how to reach consensus, how to engage communities so that we can get things going, which is probably the most important thing in our mind. So just a little bit of the agenda here. We're going to touch on 4 points, a little bit of where we are and what we do, what we see as the main challenges, and how we can believe we can solve these challenges by way of collective action. So what is the coffee cultural landscape? Well, we have done a lot of work in trying to get this process that are in a way similar to all the processes that we have heard and we will hear throughout the day. But as it was mentioned in the introduction, we have a fairly large cultural landscape. 340,000 hectares is a big landscape. We have 47 municipalities, and in 4 different provinces spread out, and that's oops. Oh, there you go. I thought we had a pointer.
The pointer is here.
Ah, we have a pointer. We have a pointer. So this is the map of Colombia, and you know these yellow areas is where the coffee cultural landscape is. So it's a big area. It's a big area inhabited by a lot of people, over 500,000 people, and among which there is around 40,000 coffee growers and their families. So you multiply that by 4 is nearly 200,000 people belonging to coffee growing families. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge. We were fortunate enough that in 2011 UNESCO gave us included us in the World Heritage List, and that has in a sense helped unite people for a purpose. But still you have the tensions. You have the tensions of people that say this is the opportunity for tourism. The others say this is the opportunity for changing things in this way or that way. At some point, people thought that, I think the 11th of June, UNESCO included the coffee cultural landscape into the World Heritage List, and that was 11th of June 2011. And people thought that as of 12th of June 2011, big planes full of dollars will arrive, and things will change from then on. So we had to sort of come to terms with that. So what are the challenges? And I think that I will take the lead of Mr. Orsema, who yesterday talked about small farming communities and small farmers. Well, you look at the coffee cultural landscape, and the average plantation size is 2.6 hectares of coffee. It's very small, very, very small. Well, it's not that small, because You see in Colombia, it's less than 5 hectares, it's 96%. And this is more or less the distribution. And if you look at the world, and some people gave world figures yesterday. I think Mr. Orson gave world figures yesterday. There is over 1 billion small farmers in the world, less than 5 hectares. And to those 1 billion small farmers, we are asking them to be more sustainable, that they have to comply with this, they have to comply with that, they have to fight climate change, and they have to do this and this and that, so that they can sell products to us, you know? And so it's a common challenge that we have, these small farmers, and we believe that's also very much based in collective action. So how do we get these people to be more sustainable, also in economic terms? And our, you know, I like to point out the difference of big farming versus small farming. And this is a picture on the left-hand side. You know, Colombia is a lot of intensive labor, high costs. We don't have a strong coffee season. We harvest coffee year-round. So we have fresh coffee year-round, but we have to be harvesting throughout the year, which is costly. And our topography is quite rough, so it's steep slopes, so not easy to get machines in there. And then you get the flatlands of Brazil, and you have these huge machines and these, you know, very efficient harvesting methods. And say, how are we going to compete? Good question. We'll get to that. Well, we believe that, you know, collective action has a role there. Collective action has a role in getting scientific methods, new varieties, new ways. I don't see a contradiction between science and heritage, if you would. I think that we have to leverage science so that we can maintain heritage. And that's a way we have done, you know, in renewing over 3 billion trees over the last 5 years, changing varieties, making it more adaptable to climate change. We have developed strong databases or georeferencing all coffee farms, all coffee growers, all coffee plantations, so that we can get the information on time to coffee growers so they can react or positively react against pests, diseases, and things that may affect them. We have also thought long and hard on how to get or sell our coffee at higher prices. You look at this graph, you will see that you know, in the world of commodities, and globalization was a word that was used yesterday. The world of commodities, everything tends to be sold at lower prices. And this is, I think, a graph from The Economist, but it's just, you know, everybody is in the business of trying to produce more at lower prices. And how are we going to get or avoid that commodity trap? It's a way by way of differentiation, and that's where I believe we have an opportunity. I am also originally an economist when I started in my academic years, and well, you want you know, that demand curve to shift to the right, and get more demand at higher prices, and that you do through differentiation, you do to minimum quality standards, you do to promotion, and we have done a lot of that in Colombian coffee, just to make sure that we not only compete with lower costs, but with higher prices. And that's something that has a lot to do with geographical indications, which I believe is a subject that is going to be touched upon in the afternoon. Okay, so from challenges to collective action, and that's what I would like to spend most of my time. So again, 20,000 growers, for 51 municipalities, including the buffer zones, I mean the principal zone and the main zone and the buffer zone of the coffee cultural landscape. We have in that area 400 extension agents or technical advisors to coffee growers so that we can get them information and update and improve their farms. We have 12 co-ops or cooperatives working in the area and 60 purchasing points, making sure that coffee can go to market. Because one of the challenges that the small coffee or farmers have is commercialization, is how to sell their product. If they are producing in very small quantities, the transaction costs become quite big if you don't have purchasing points distributed. Now, that's the infrastructure, or the institutional infrastructure that we provide to the area. But the important thing is to making the decisions. So we have a rather complex governance system, but I think has the merit of being legitimate. And I think that if any of you has worked in political science, will give a lot of credit to the word legitimacy. Legitimacy is important for decisions. Legitimacy is important. I mean, sometimes the decision can be very good, but is not taken in a legitimate way, is not going to be implemented. So you have to have a way of bringing legitimacy to your decisions, and you do that through democracy. If you don't mind, we would like to run a video that we have showing how the coffee grower elections that took place in September last year were a way of getting this legitimacy. So can we have the video, please?
Se llegaron las elecciones cafeteras y hay que votar.
Claro que hay que votar, comadre, que es el futuro lo que está en juego. Y dice así: amigos, llegó el momento de elegir por el futuro.
Estamos buscando a la selección cafetera por el futuro de la caficultura colombiana.
Nadie va a elegir, por mi selección yo, que el futuro de la familia no es un juego y se acabó. Tengan en cuenta que eso de seleccionar solo es cosa de nosotros, del café y de nadie más. Solo es cosa de nosotros, del café y de nadie más. Por mí nadie va a elegir, por mí selecciono yo, que el futuro de la familia no es un juego ni un favor. Por mí nadie va a elegir, por mí selecciono yo, que el futuro de la familia no es.
¿Cuál es la razón para usted participar de las elecciones cafeteras?
Porque es nuestra empresa y tenemos que luchar por ella, entonces debemos votar.
we purposely decided not to put the European Parliament turnout into the final comparison. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that to get the community engaged in decisions, you have to have a process. And that process cannot be, a faraway process. You have to get people involved in feeling that they are part of the decisions, no matter what the culture, what the community you're talking or you're working with. We have decided to have this governance system, has elections, has this system that was explained in the video. There might be some other videos that can, or other systems that can work for different communities, but you have to figure out a way to engage those communities. Anyway, as a collective action model, well, you have to do everything that you have to do in sustainability. You have to do the economic, social, environmental, cultural, and we also have a lot of work for connectivity, or making sure that we can deliver more services to rural communities, and that involves a number of actions. I'm not going to bore you with explaining you this slide, but the point I'm trying to make is that you have to work with transaction costs. You have to work if you're talking agriculture or small agricultural farming, you have to deal with transaction costs. You have to deal with climate change and research and scientific research. You have to deal with implementing whatever you discover in science. You have to do assistance, and we have throughout Colombia what I mentioned, extension service. There's always over 1,500 extension agents around Colombia, out of which 400 are in the coffee cultural landscape. So we have to have the opportunity to reach out to people in a constant and decisive way to make change happen. You have to do the things that you have to do in the modern world. You have to develop carbon footprint. Yesterday there was a meeting in Brussels with the European community, not only talking about carbon footprint for coffee, but environmental footprint for coffee. That means water footprint, and then a number of things that you have to do as a collective action model so that these people can continue selling their coffee to the European Union. Okay, last but not least, branding, because you have to differentiate, you have to get to the market. So we devised this brand for the coffee cultural landscape. It's a little bit of a complex brand, but the complexity is nice, because here you have all the values that UNESCO recognized in the single brand. You have the hand, the labor, you have the mountains, you have the architecture, you have the diversity in the birds in one single brand. So you are, through the brand, you're communicating what is it that you have to value. And you have to value to the local inhabitants, but also to the outside world. And we created this brand so that people will have a sense of belonging, and they would appreciate what they have. This brand is now, this is how we explain the brand, so I will jump this. But then we started licensing the brand, the products that come from the cultural coffee landscapes. So they are an ingredient, it is an ingredient brand for coffees that come from the coffee cultural landscape. So we have a number of brands in Asia and in Colombia and in the US that are sold as coffee coming from the coffee cultural landscape. We developed food pairing trees for the coffee cultural landscape, so that chefs and people in the gastronomic world will start to develop new recipes with coffee from the coffee cultural landscape. And most importantly, we had to deal with tourism. And so we created the brand for tourism. And this brand for tourism is also only used for certain minimum quality requirements for tourist hotels and tourist destinations within the region. So the idea is that you have to create value for the people. If you are going to have a cultural landscape recognized by UNESCO, or even not recognized by UNESCO, if there is anyone from UNESCO here, please excuse me, but this is for the people. This is not for the UNESCO. So you have to have a system in which you create value for the people living there. And so we created virtual trips, a number of ways to make sure that not only visitors, but local inhabitants value what they have. And with that, I finish. Thank you so much.
Merci infiniment, Monsieur Luis Fernando Samper, pour cette exceptionnelle présentation. J'ai été très frappé par l'ordre dans lequel vous avez présenté vos images. Je pense que beaucoup d'entre nous s'attendaient à découvrir comme première image des représentations du paysage, de la culture du café. Eh bien non, et je crois que c'est sans doute l'apport majeur de votre propos ce matin. Vous avez d'abord exprimé la construction d'une communauté, la mise en place de règles démocratiques. Et voilà, je pense que ce film nous aura tous beaucoup marqués. Construire une communauté large qui puisse ensuite prendre des décisions collectives. Et c'est à la fin que nous avons vu des photos de ces paysages exceptionnels. Donc merci beaucoup de cette présentation et je souhaiterais que l'on vous applaudisse à nouveau.